There is no doubt that AI can design very beautiful front ends. It is ruthlessly efficient, ruthlessly quick. It knows every coding language, but can it actually design? Recently, I made a post on LinkedIn showing a side-by-side comparison of one of our designs versus AI that tried to replicate it. In fact, I took this analogy so far that I actually made a competitor comparison page on our studio's website. If you guys don't know what a competitor comparison page is, very common on B2B SaaS and product websites, where basically you answer every question a user could have when evaluating your product versus a competitor. You do a side-by-side of every single feature and be transparent about the positives, negatives, and where either of you has the edge. Now, competitor comparison pages are very commonly memed on because a lot of times products just take the opportunity to basically dunk on their competitors, portraying the idea that we are the best and our competitors suck. That's the gist of it. But the best competitor comparison pages, rank very well in AI search. They're very good at targeting that decision phase of the buyer journey. It's a great opportunity for you to compare feature by feature your advantages and your disadvantages of your product relative to your competitors. And B, it answers all those questions that the users are having. The best sales pages, the best websites do exactly that. They give our customers all the information they need and reinforce their decision with relevant proof, testimonials, third-party sources, etc. Now, it's not incredibly common for studios or agencies to have competitor comparison pages because it's more so reserved for products. So there's not a lot of one-to-one features that you can compare to a SaaS product. But when we look side by side at these actual designs, so on the left here, I have a really nice presentation of one of our clients' websites in Medicare and what AI tried to do to replicate it. And you can literally compare them side by side, section by section. And I'll even zoom in here a little bit more. Essentially, what you can see is that it's very good at taking the code-specific aspects of design and translating those. But what's lost here is the interpretation of how they're executed. And mind you, we came up with this design here on the left. We came up with this from scratch, and this was AI's attempt to basically replicate it using our design that we had in the first place. So in terms of originality, it's really not even a competition. AI likely could have came up with this wireframe, this copy, but it wouldn't have been able to source these images and even the colors on the branding without strategic direction and having a reference to draw from. Additionally, if we look at like this left-right section here, you can see a not as great execution when it comes to some of the elements that make the design pop. So we have some of these branded textures here in the background. Obviously, that's not going to be doable by AI in one shot. We have a slightly more muted color palette. We have a Google font, but basic serif instead of having a premium typography font that we licensed from Adobe. And also just the spacing and hierarchy just isn't quite as good. We can see some widow text right here, one letter on a single line. And just the taste of making the images fit in with the layout, it's just not as trustworthy, especially comes to life here with this testimonial section. It's basically just doesn't have any sense of creative layout. It's very segmented, very bricked, with a flat gray background, whereas on ours you have some fading and some creative elements. And I would say the best job probably did was this bottom section here, but it still doesn't get that logo in there. We actually have a parallax animation on this as well, so I wasn't really able to execute that. Also, other elements of the footer, just not as good spacing, logo implementations there, and just these soft color textures that we have in the background. It just doesn't quite capture those. Also, obviously, Icon is going to have a very difficult time doing a good job of. But if you look at it feature by feature, and I have little tooltips here, again, an attempt to answer all of our visitors' questions in the moment they have them, deeply explain the side-by-side. The one thing I will raise my hand at and surrender to, AI is always going to win on technical execution speed and investment cost. Now, in terms of how long those things will be true, in terms of speed, it's always going to have that moat. It's always going to get you towards the predefined outcome that you have in your mind very quickly. Also, currently, in terms of investment costs, it is very advantageous. Our normal websites start at $20,000 for a full project cost, and AI could do this, pennies on the dollar in comparison to that. In terms of how long that will be the case, Obviously, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not going to be able to tell into the future when potentially costs could rise to do the same output we're already using. The main purpose of AI is it's as a tool. But a lot of times, especially when our clients reach out to us, we're the ones that are supposed to set that direction in the first place. I'm not saying that we're the only ones that can use the tools or that can use tools for design, development, etc. But when you hire a professional, it's because you're investing in them steering the ship in the direction that you need to go. Execution of what you're outsourcing is an afterthought after you align on the strategy. The tools are going to be incredible at reducing the time it takes to execute on the ideas, the originality, the strategy that we give it. But in terms of it being that 0 to 1 and setting that direction from the first place, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if it's ever going to replace a real expert. So a bit of a shorter video here today, but this post kind of blew up on LinkedIn when I made a walkthrough, like, hey, our studio, a competitor comparison page versus AI. And I'll include this link in the description. I encourage you guys to go check it out. And if you are a marketer, a copywriter, for instance, maybe you make one of these on your own site, comparing you versus AI generated copy, or maybe you're a video editor comparing one of your videos versus one of AI's videos. I highly encourage you to make it clear and easy, and also transparent, clear. Surrender to the areas where AI is quickest. It's usually going to be on execution speed and initial investment, and just be transparent with the outcomes, because I guarantee your customers are already thinking how they can use AI instead of you, and just give them the transparent layout. Appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Let me know what you guys think of this idea. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.